Hi, everybody. Gary and Mike here again with Pivotal Advisors, part of our Real Talk series for sales leaders. And talking about a little bit more sensitive topic today. We're getting a lot of owners right now who are watching expenses really tightly. Sales have been down with the economic issues that we've had been going on. And they start asking questions like, do I have the right sales leader? And Mike, why are they asking that question right now?
I think it's twofold. One, they're just looking at all expenses. So you're asking, is there, I'm challenging that list generally. But then I think the second question is we are behind on our numbers, and largely that's the sales leader's job to push that forward, or we're not executing our plan the right way. And so they're looking for answers. I want answers to the questions. I want to understand it. Now, I think sometimes our brethren sales leaders look at it and say, well, they're just unrealistic. Don't they know what's going on? Of course they do. And of course they're realistic that, we may not get everything done we planned on getting done, but I still want to know what we can do, right? And what I get concerned about is if I start to hear things, and by the way, we hear this a lot, if I start to hear things like, well, we can't do anything about it, it's all COVID, or now the protests are in the way, or geez, it's just, our market's down. I read an industry article that says the market's down 20% and we're only down 17. So we're actually doing better than others. So this rationalization kicks in where you're trying to justify why it's down. And I think what they want to hear is, what are we doing about it?
Right.
What are we going to at least try to improve from where we are now? So I think, really watch and caution. And Gary, by the way, what happens is if I hear that too much, that's what prompts the question.
Right.
My sales leader doesn't seem to be taking action. They don't seem to have any ideas. They seem to be kind of almost fueling the fire with the sales team that it's just really tough out there, or they want to empathize with them, because it is hard. And I'm just wondering, is that position going to drive me forward and help me get out of this?
And I really think about a lot of owners and CEOs as well who did not come up through sales. They came up through operations, or they came up through finance, or they came up through a different area. And they are really looking to the sales leader, because they have been in sales their whole life, to say, how do we get out of this? And compound that with what you just said. And the sales leader's going, well, hey, I don't know, there's nothing we can do. That's when that question comes up a lot. So,
and even on top of that, before you go, I think that, one I heard the other day was, and there's nothing new to report, so I quit having my meeting with my boss.
oh, yeah.
Right? So I'm not even talking to them anymore. So now the boss is going to fill their head with all kinds of assumptions about what is or isn't happening. And but they may not be the assumptions you want them to form, right?
Right. Right.
So maybe this is a little bit about how do you keep yourself out of the hot seat when the numbers are down?
So we came up with 4 different things that we think sales leaders can do to hopefully, at a minimum, keep themselves off of the hot seat. But much better than that, how can we even tighten our relationship more with that CEO or owner? So let's talk about the first one. And we talked about being proactive. I see too many sales leaders right now saying, what does the boss want me to do? I wish the boss would just tell me what I should do. And the boss is over there going, why is this sales leader not telling me what to do? So Mike, talk a little bit about some of the things that they can do to be a little bit more proactive.
Yeah, so what does proactive look like? I think it's bringing information, right? So here's where we are, here's what we've tried, here's where we're up, here's where we're down, here's where the problem seems to be, whether that's customer or across a group of salespeople or a segment or whatever it is. Be real with the information, and then come with, and here's 3 approaches we could take, right? We could shrink things up. Let's get focused on this market. Let's put all our energy here. We think that's the best way. Or let's raise our prices right now for anybody that's a low margin customer because we got to get more out of them, right? Let's really focus on this product versus that product because we earn more margin on it. Whatever it is, bring those ideas to your boss so they know you're not giving up. You're trying to say, what can we adjust? What can we do better? How can we drive the team? and you're enrolling them or bringing them into that problem, right? So how do we just proactively go and say, here's the issue, here's the data, here's some ideas about how I go forward. Even be prepared with your recommendation. I was thinking of going this way, but I wanted to check with you first. And I would re-ask, and how often should we get together, right? Should we meet weekly so I can give you an update? Should we meet every other way? Like, what's enough information so I'm informing you, because things are still moving relatively quickly and there's still some uncertainty out there. So that's, to me, what proactive is.
Yeah, and it bleeds into the second one, which is communicate, over communicate. Right now, most business owners and CEOs are looking for the best information they can during weird times like this to make better decisions. You can help that. You can provide them metrics and data. What customer feedback are we hearing? What have we tried, and how is the market reacting to that? What data can we supply them on the different industries that are up or down? How different salespeople are doing? But the more data you can provide them with your recommendations around that data, that's back to the proactive piece, you are being a valuable resource to your CEO or your owner. But bring them information so they can react to that. Don't make them search for it or ask for it.
Building on that, Gary, I even like, this is a good time when you're bringing information. I always say, when what I really want to know as the owner is realistic information, not
Yes.
overly fluffy where it's going to be great, not so conservative it looks like the sky is falling, but what do I really think, and be realistic about it. And I even like bringing at these times worst case, best case, and probable case, right? Give me a range.
Yeah.
So as an owner, I'm not saying I'm going to bring in, $643,000 or whatever your number is this month, but give me a range so I can participate in what's happening and I can form some judgment to make the rest of my decisions.
Yeah. And then based on that data, make it your joint plan. It's not your plan. It's not their plan. It's your joint plan. So how do you bring that data proactively, as we talked about before, and say, here's what's going on. Here's my recommendation on what I think we should do. Let's talk about it, boss, and come up with what our plan is together. And how are we going to know if this is working?
And even involve other people. Maybe it's not just the boss, right? Maybe there's product.
I love that.
Maybe there's other people. Bring them in and say, again, here's my ideas. What do you guys have to add? What am I not thinking about? What more could we do? I'll execute the smartest thing we can come up with. And now you're all in it together. And you'd be surprised. Sometimes these people have awesome ideas that have you get your thinking going in a different direction. And now we have something we can take back to the team that we've all agreed on. We know what we're going to try. We're going to do that for a short period of time, whether that's weeks or a month. And then we're going to regroup and say, did that work, or do we try something different again? But getting that leadership group engaged with what you're doing is going to help you get your smartest thinking forward and be proactive at the same time.
Love that. And then the last part of it, we talked about this actually in another one of our videos, but keep your team engaged. If the boss sees that your team is still heads down, they're working hard, they've got goals, they're achieving, they're going to view you one way. If they see that the team has got their head down and they're giving up and they're not doing things, they're going to view you another way. You are going to be judged by how your team is performing. So how can you keep your team engaged?
I think there's a couple of different things, but the most important thing, when we lose team engagement, they feel like they've lost control, right? I can't do anything about it. Woe is me. It is what it is. And we get kind of that attitude. The best thing you can do is shrink the time frame in which you're asking them to do things. So quarterly plans go to monthly plans go to weekly plans, right? What can we do? What can we control? Let's take action for that, and let's get excited about getting that done. And you start to bring the people back. And I think secondarily, we can add some rewards to that, whether they're little competitive things or some spiffs. But how do we recognize the good behavior, even though we can't recognize great results at this point? But all we can do is what we want people to do. So how do we make that important, and how do we recognize it? What would you add, Gary?
No, I think that's really good. So just summarizing, it's Don't make them question you. If you're a solid leader out there, this is a time where you can really step up and show your leadership skills. So um, let's look at being proactive. Take things to them. Don't wait for them to come to you, but bring your recommendations to them. Over communicate. Give them the data they need along with those recommendations. Form that joint plan together and make sure your team is executing and engaged. And if you do all of those things, you're going to be looked at very favorably as a strong leader in a time of crisis. And that's really what we're shooting for here.
Yeah,
Anything else to add?
yeah, I think just kind of wrapping it up, all those things you said are really about controlling the narrative, right? Don't let them form in their head all the things that may or may not be true. Go tell them, right? Just put it all together, go tell them, involve them, and move on.
All right. Again, this is part of our Real Talk series. Subscribe to our channel, our YouTube channel if you can. Sign up for our blog. Go to our website at pivotadvisors.com. We'd love to hear back from you. This is Gary and Mike again. We'll keep coming at you. Thanks for watching.
Thanks all.